Elliot's with us in Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, Elliot, what's up?
Hey, Dave. It's such a pleasure to talk.
You too. How can we help?
So I own a real estate brokerage here in Jacksonville, and I'm just trying to find out with my first really successful year, Dave, what is appropriate to pay myself as a salary. I've got a business partner, a family member, so there's trust, but I definitely would like to know that we're not, obviously taking too much, taking too little, but at the same rate, we're able to still grow the business as we've been trying to for the past about 8 years now that I've been in the real estate game.
Cool. Well, to operate the business with a long vision, a long-term mindset, you're going to have line items that affect your net profit. For instance, you're going to set money aside for HR, for doing things for the team, blessing the team. We have a crazy big, wonderful Christmas party that we drop coin on here. We have a huge, massive battle of the bands. You probably don't want to do that one, that we drop coin on here. We, of course, pick up stuff like health insurance and 401ks and those kinds of things that we drop coin on. So that's an HR fund, the human resources fund, that's an expense here, and it's a way for us to invest back into the businesses, invest back into our most expensive line item in our P&L, which is people and payroll. So that's an example of investing back in the business. Another one might be that you're trying to buy some equipment to grow the business with, some technology to grow the business with, a marketing campaign to grow the business with, and you want to invest back into that. So you line item that and set that money aside in that bucket to be used for that, even if it's later in the year, before you calculate how much you can take home. And then the last one that we've done for many years is just retained earnings. When we get to the very bottom, right before we take our pay, we set aside another percentage for growing retained earnings, the business emergency fund. And retained earnings is not only used for emergencies, it can be used for a huge, like if you bought out a whole other real estate company later and brought them in under your wing and you paid them for that. You might have the money in retained earnings to do that later. And so I systematically built our nest egg inside the business. Again, business people call that retained earnings. And I do it every single month, and I have for 25 plus years, a percentage of our net profits before the bottom line that I get paid off of is set aside for. And so if there's not much net profit, not much goes in the HR fund. If there's not much net profit, not much goes into the increased marketing fund. If there's not much net profit, because it's a percentage, goes into retained earnings. So it can adjust as cash adjusts, but then when I take money out and take it, the rest of it's mine. I take it home. It's mine. It's why I work. It's why you work. It's why you own the stinking thing rather than work there. And so, and I can do that knowing that I haven't cheated the business in some way because I put into the budget the systems to make sure that the reinvestment into people, into the future, into emergency funds is done before I take home money. And then if I take home a ridiculous amount of money, I'm still okay because I've done everything at the office before I did that. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I guess for me, and knowing that my expenses are already, at least fixed for this year, I'm trying to determine with retained earnings, we still have a little bit of I don't want to call it an overage, but some cushion where I feel like we should be paying ourselves, the two owners, some portion of a salary. So we started out modestly, Dave, with a $500 each salary, which puts us at $1,000, $12,000 a year. It's not enough to, write home about, but obviously it earns us something in terms of, funding. Yeah. I have a partner that's baby step 7. So she doesn't really need for the $500. For her, it's just retirement fund. Mm-hmm. And for myself, it's going into retirement as well. So
now the first thing I did is I worked it up to, I had $100K salary.
Okay.
And I did away with that later, but I worked up to that. And I still would challenge you guys to go back and look, because you're going to be at 5,000 before you know it from 500. If you keep making money and you keep growing, right? And if you'll set in place the systems, it allows you to do that without thinking about it. Then you can burn your calories in your brain for other things. And so what I'm saying is that you kind of have a feeling, is the way you outlined it, Elliot, that your retained earnings is okay. But it wasn't based on a percentage. You just got a chunk in there, and you went, okay, that feels pretty good, so now we can take $500. Instead, I'm going to say, before you get to that retained earnings number, make every single month's profit X percent added to retained earnings. Everything beyond that, y'all can take. It could be 500, it could be 5,000.
I got you. Okay.
That's what I mean by percentages. And how big is your office staff I know you got real estate agents or realtors on staff there, but they're independent contractors. How about your payroll? How many people on payroll?
Zero.
Zero. Okay. So how many real estate agents are in the office?
14.
Okay. All right.
That includes myself and my partner.
Yeah. So you're probably needing some administrative staff, aren't you?
Yes, I have a cousin that's of our admin for a flat fee is the way we've structured it. So every deal that we collect a fee on, she gets a flat percentage of that.
Okay. Not a bad way to start your first staff member. As long as cousin doesn't mean we settled.
No, she's a high D personality.
Okay.
And
that's okay. As long as we're not settling, that's fine. When you said cousin, it scared me a little bit, but just make sure that we're getting, that she's got a good deal for her. You got a good deal for you, meaning that this is a good business relationship, that she's providing more value than she costs, like all team members have to do. That's just how the math works. It's not a mean thing. It's just how math works. If you don't make a business or save a business more than you cost, pretty soon it goes out of business. So that's the thing. But you got her on a percentage of the deals. That's sweet. Very incentivized. Very helpful to keep her motivated, and it keeps the team grateful for her being there and so on. So yeah, but you've got some staffing to do, then reinvesting into that staff, reinvesting into retained earnings systematically, and then you can draw down.